claims that some people that exist in that particular crisis area, that's the middle belt now, that they are not hospitable. How true is that?
That is absolute rubbish.
Okay.
If there are people that are hospitable, I want to say in Africa, you have to give it to the people of the middle belt.
Okay.
The middle belt accommodates everyone because the land is vast, the resources are many, and the culture of the people is that of tolerance. Yes, they may clash among themselves, over historical boundaries and all that. But when it comes to even strangers, the people of the middle belt are even much more accommodating. There is no part of the middle belt that you will not go, that you will not find large concentration of Hausa and Fulani, of Igbos, of Ijos, everybody carrying out his own trade. There is no time that you say any part of the middle belt said, no, we don't want Igbos, no, we don't want, apart from the Civil War era, which was a national matter. But wherever the Hausas, found themselves comfortable in the middle belt, there has always been some kind of clash, if you like, because they would like to always claim, some of the lands. In Zango Kataf in 1992, in Jalingo, it happened. That's in Adamawa State. You can name many places like that in the middle belt where the Hausas will always claim it as even in Makurdi, they had the guts to call it that Makurdi, that they are the founders of the place, that the town is called Makurdi. But you want to ask, why is it that it is only this tribe that always have issues wherever they settle in the middle belt? We have Ijos, we have Yorubas, we have Benin, we have all kinds. In fact, we have foreigners that have settled in the middle belt for years, if not for centuries. You will never hear this kind of complaint, but it's always where the Hausas and the Fulanis, are settled.
Are there still reasons for the struggle for the middle belt?
Absolutely, there is. In fact, this is the time for the real struggle. And what we have been talking about, marginalization, is even very manifest now. You can imagine the Northwest Development Commission that has been passed to law, and a board was inaugurated, that there is no one single person from the middle belt, even though Southern KB and Southern Kaduna are part of the Northwest. We were forced to remarch into the south, into the Northwest. Sorry, I said Southwest. Into the Northwest. Southern Kaduna is bigger than Kano State. Southern Kaduna is 26,000 square kilometers. Kano State is 20,000 square kilometers. When it comes to real population, we believe that we in Southern Kaduna, we even have more populations than them, because their populations are, the population of Kano State is highly disputable.
Yes.
For now, we estimate that we have about 5.2 million people in Southern Kaduna, and we are mostly Christians. Southern KB also has large number of Christians. But apart from that, there are also sprinklings of Christians, not even sprinkling. In Katsina, in Kano, we have areas that have indigenous houses that are Christians. But you can imagine that in that 11-man board, not one single person from Southern KB or Southern Kaduna, whether he's a Muslim or he's a Christian. So that's the kind of marginalization that we have. So all that kind of huge money that will be coming, it will mean, of course, if your mother is the one cooking the food, you will not sleep hungry. So this money will come, that large part of Kaduna State, in Southern Kaduna, and that area in KB State, noise had to be made for any intervention to come. Meanwhile, we were worst hit. We are among the worst hit in terms of communities have been ravaged by this banditry. Yet, because of whatever reason, none of us is presented in that. And it's like that in political appointment. Before you see a middle belter given appointment at the federal level, about 12 Hausas and Fulanis have been given appointment. Yet, when it comes to the number of human beings in the Middle Belt and in the Fulani and Hausa North, we believe that we are more in number. The 45 million that is always advanced as our population is an underestimation. And apart from that, in the land mass of the 660,000 square kilometers of the northern Nigeria, the Middle Belt takes 65% of it. But because we have been given that tag of minority, which we unfortunately accepted, and it's a misnomer, 3 tribal groups, the Kanuri, the Fulanis, and the Hausas, cannot form a majority where they have less landmass, and then they have less cities than us, and then you want to group them with at least 250 ethnic groups that speak over 400 dialects, and you call these people a minority. It's abnormal. If you are in South Africa and you are a black man, you are a majority, because when you count one on one, you know that you are a majority. If you go to the US, when you count white skins one on one, you know that they are the majority. So you cannot come to northern Nigeria when you count human beings that are not Hausa and Fulani and Kanuri, who are the majority, you say no, they are the minority. Why? Because they are made up of small tribal groups. We have no quarrel with the fact that yes, these 3 groups are the largest tribal groups in northern Nigeria, but they do not constitute the majority. So, but because we have accepted that tag, and that is why we are so marginalized in terms of appointment, in terms of policies, in terms of citing of government projects, even when it comes to trying to get the feelings of what is supposed to be done to northern Nigeria. They go to the Sultanate and all that. But so this is part of the things that we in the Middle Belt Forum are trying to correct this time.
Now, in your own opinion, how can this abnormally be corrected?
It can only be corrected by a restructuring of this country, in which we in the Middle Belt Forum, and in fact the Middle Belt itself, gave very powerful memoranda during the 2014 confab. It is unfortunate that President Ebele Jonathan, had lacked the guts to implement that. Would have not been experiencing what we are having today. Nigeria has to be restructured in a manner that every region should aspire what it wants to become. For example, now the issue of closure of schools.
No, I'm coming to that.
Okay, no, but still on that.
Yes.
There are certain parts of this country that have certain priorities, and which should be given to them. The 12 states that are operating Sharia in northern Nigeria seem to prioritize Sharia, over infrastructural development, over educational advancement, over economic improvement. That is why they can vote 8 billion naira for mass wedding. That is why they can vote billions of naira for pilgrimage to Mecca. That is why they could do all kinds of things that are clearly non-secular. So they are divorcing themselves from the Nigerian secular state. So why don't we restructure this country and say, okay, if you are happy, you want to do Sharia and the way you want it, go. And then the people that want to live in their secularism, live that way and be happy. Let everybody be happy. But you are yoking us together. The constitution as it is now, we are funding Islam because it is already incorporated in 1999 constitution. There is nowhere that you see Christianity being mentioned, but Islam, Sharia and all that is already enshrined in 1999 constitution. It's a disadvantage. You are funding Sharia court of appeal, Sharia court of this. Everybody that is employed there is a Muslim. So where are the Christians and non-Muslims? What are they getting from it? So Nigeria has to be restructured in a manner that everybody will live with. And people should also generate their own resources, because you cannot use the resources of other regions and then fund certain policies that are inimical and antithetical, to the happiness and progress of the contributors of these resources. So Nigeria must be restructured in earnest.
All right. Now, why has Khan not really taken this 3 to 4 state governors that have stopped schooling because of Ramadan? That's the governors of Bauchi, Kano, Jigawa, and Kebbi. I would like to get your take. Do you think using the diplomatic measures would have been the solution, or taking these governors to court because they are violating the rights of Christians in that state?
Well, I cannot speak for Khan.
Being a Christian.
I am a Christian, but I am also the spokesman of the Middle Belt Forum, which interestingly also has a Muslim among us. And what we are saying in the Middle Belt Forum is that policy does not only infringe on the rights of other non-Muslims, but even the children of the Muslims are also negatively affected because there also are children in the Middle Belt. How can their counterparts in other parts of the country, be having uninterrupted, schooling for these 5 weeks? You understand? And then they have been forced to stop. Meanwhile, they are the most disadvantaged. If anybody at all needs more time, more grace to study, it should be the pupils and students in these 4 states that have been closed down now because of Ramadan. So it is not even good for them. It is also worse for us Christians. And the Middle Belt Forum issued a statement 3 days ago in which I signed, where we said that the implementation of this policy is to, drive home our fear that Sharia is not discriminatory. It affects everybody. But we are even looking at it beyond that. We believe that they are testing the waters against the future. Because if we allow this to stand, by next election, even other areas of the Northwest where agitation for Sharia is now bringing up, we start insisting on Muslim tickets, on issues of halal and other things. But the most affected areas will be the core north and the middle belt. So we are calling on all stakeholders in the Nigerian project to resist this. If it means taking legal actions, let it be. But the ball is now in the court of Mr. President, who can easily issue an executive order. He has those powers to stop this order, reverse it. If he doesn't do that, he will be towing the path of President Obasanjo, who thought that Sharia that was, being agitated for in Zamfara was a child's play. And he allowed Yerima Bakura to implement Sharia in Zamfara state. He said it was going to die a natural death. It didn't die. Yeah. What happened? It became more like an inferno.
But you think the president will want to do that, given the fact that 2027 is around the corner?
In fact, that is even the more reason why he has to do it. Do you know why? Because the body language of the core north now clearly showed that they are not with the Ahmed Bola Tinubu. Okay. And like we have been trying to reassure him and reassure any other person, because let me not sound as if the Middle Belt has settled for President Tinubu. We are studying him. There will be other presidential candidates, I believe, from the south. What we are standing for is that we are insisting, just like the Southern Forum, that 2027 should still go to the south. So we still stand on that. But we know that the core north are insisting that power should return to the north. When they call the north now, they want to incorporate the middle belt, but we are distancing ourselves clearly from them. So it is better for Tinubu to implement this now, because if he thinks that he is going to stand aloof and allow them to be happy, he is actually digging a grave, because they will not vote for him in 2027. The Arewa Consultative Forum came out to deny that claim, but from the body languages of their leaders, it is clear that the core Muslim North will not vote for a southern candidate, including Bola Tinubu in 2027. So it's better for him now, or any other presidential aspirant, to embrace the middle belt. And if the South is also going with any presidential candidate plus the middle belt, it has already made the North a minority. I don't know why politicians cannot see, that kind of arrangement and take advantage of it. So it is up to Bola Tinubu now to stand up and say that he is for justice, is for fairness, and that he is a president that will not take nonsense. If Obasanjo overlooked this thing and it gave rise to what is terrorism today, we expect Bola Tinubu, as an astute Democrat, he has been in the trenches, fighting for civil rule and democracy, to live up, to his biddings and call this first state to order.
All right, Mr. Luka Binniyat, thank you very much for coming to this particular program. We appreciate you for being here, and we hope when we invite you again, you still find time to grace the occasion.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, listeners, this is where we draw the curtain for today's program. And remember, this is Ndeya Radio. Thank you very much for listening. See you on the other side of our programs.